Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. This is just going to be random clips put together as I'm watering, probably over a couple of days. It's Sunday today, I've just started, and I've just noticed this Shari baby was effectively two pieces put in the same pot, and the latest lead has bloomed. Not the best of spikes, but I grow this for the fragrance, not for the look. And the other lead is spiking as well. I'm sure that wasn't there last time I looked, so that's coming on. The yellow twinkle is still not opened, and that has actually blasted a few buds. Not many, but I notice a few have actually fallen off, but there's still more than enough left. The cinnamon twinkle has virtually finished now, so we'll have that's got to come out of that pot. That is jammed in there. There's no room for any growth at all, so that one's got to come out. I might actually see if I can take a piece off of that and actually mount it, because the other twinkle, the white twinkle, the tiny twinkle that's mounted, has done very well and progressed at quite a rate from a recovering plant to sort of plenty of new growths, a good root system and 3 spikes. So it did well in one growing season. So I think twinkles actually quite like being mounted, and like I've said in the past, mounted space I have plenty of. So, you know, I may well split that plant off, get it in a larger pot, refresh the media, and see if I can find a piece that will naturally come off without... I don't want to split the plant in two, I want to maintain the size of the plant. But it does need a bigger pot, so I have to do some work on that at an appropriate time, which will be after the blooms are finished and when there's signs of new growths. So we'll have a go at that soon. But yeah, another Shari baby spike to come on. There'll be a big gap because this one's been open a while now. They don't last a long time, and that one's a long way from blooming, so there'll be a big Shari baby gap where they're honestly, there isn't anything with fragrance out here once that's gone. Still, it'll smell like a grow room then, won't it, for a while. This little Phalaenopsis has just opened. Now, I don't know if this is the one, but one of the earlier Phalaenopsis my daughter bought, she bought because it was an unusual combination of colours. She said it was like a kaleidoscope. But I never saw the blooms, and when she brought all her plants down, we lost track of which one was which. And I said, well, gradually each one's going to come into bloom, and you can have a look and see if it's the one you meant. Because it was one of her first ever orchids she bought. It was special to her, and she loved the colours, but she's never seen them since. Now that might be the one. I don't know whether you'd describe that as a kaleidoscope of colours, but... that could be the one. If it is, she's going to be over the moon, because it was assumed lost, because quite a few of her plants didn't make it when they came down. Well, we shall have to wait and see now, but it's attractive whether it's the lost Phalaenopsis or not. It's still quite nice. Well, it's Monday morning and it's raining. It's been raining since I got out of bed. Looks like it might brighten up. You never know. I managed to get all my pots watered yesterday, mammoth session, and all the mounted orchids, and even the resting orchids had a dribble yesterday, so big task yesterday, achieved mainly by not having a camera in my hand. I know, I know you like it when I have got the camera in my hand, but sometimes the workload just has to be done. I was 2 days late getting round to that, so some things were over dry, shall we say. A few things I noticed, not much, I say not much is changing, but the one of my Miltoniopsis has a spike. I don't remember noticing that last time I looked. That's the Her Alexander, which it was endearingly named Donald, in tribute to Donald Duck the cartoon character. And when somebody pointed out to me, I could see the resemblance. I'll stick a picture up, see if you can see it as well. But yeah, it'd be nice to have some Miltoniopsis blooms around again. I haven't seen any for a while. What else? There's a Restrepia that's got a bloom on it. I can't get at it. but it's one of the plants that's not a large plant that hasn't bloomed for a while. It's the one that's been slacking, quite honestly, but there's a bloom. I don't think it's actually open yet, so I can't get at that at the moment. The Nellie Isla has fully opened now, nice and flat, nice shaped bloom, and a good deep colour that the camera will lighten slightly. It is actually a richer red than that, but I'm well pleased with the colour that's appeared on my spike, because I was worried it was gonna be a paler colour than I was hoping. I know what it was like when I got it. The reason I got it was the deep red. But yeah, I mean the Nellie Isla traditional one is quite a nice red. It's not as deep as that, but it's a nice bright red. But it has pale markings on the lip, which for me distracts a bit from what this one is like. I got this one purely because it's red. And yes, it's got some lovely veining on the lip, but it's still red. And with just that touch of yellow gold in the centre, it's a lovely bloom. Simple, but very nice. What else did I see yesterday? Oh, I've forgotten. Oh, this little maxillaria over here, if I can get the strappy leaves out of the way. There's more blooms on that now than I've ever had. Now, on its mount, it used to bloom on and off a couple at a time. I think the most I ever had was maybe 3. But it's coming on well in the pot. Seems to like it more than it did on the mount. It does do well mounted, but being a climber, it's an escape artist, half of it was off the mount. You know, then you end up with aerial roots that are difficult to keep hydrated, you know, so especially in the summer months. So I thought I'd try it in a pot, and it's responded very well. And that's the best blooming I've ever had on that. And there's new growth coming out of it all over the place, so it's going to escape from the pot. You know, you tie that one up, it'll still escape. Yeah. So that's doing well. I didn't really notice anything else. It's that time of year, you know, there's buds all over the place, but they're not there yet, and we'll get to them when they are there. My Dendrobium Victoria Reginae had what looked like buds coming. Well, I can pretty safely say that most of those buds are going to be kikis. Again, oh, when will you ever bloom? I've got a feeling that with that one, it is a cooler grower, and but then it's cool now, so why are you doing kikis? I don't know. Anyway, we'll see what happens. If I get more kikis, then I've got more plants to pass on to maybe somebody else or whatever, or start a new plant. But it would be nice to see some blooms on that thing. It's never bloomed for me, so patiently waiting, as one does. My little Orangus fastuosa, the spikes are pushing on quite nicely now. It would be, I was thinking back to when this last bloomed. This went to the Wessex show last year, their spring show, so that would be in March. So the chances are this is going to take at least until then before it blooms. Yeah, I was disappointed in that because it looked absolutely stunning. It was at its peak. You know, all the blooms had recently opened. They were all in perfect condition and everything. And I didn't have anything to hang this little plant on. And the spikes on it are pendulous, so it would have looked silly in a pot. So I thought, well, I'll see if I can borrow a stand or something or other. And in the section of the show where this one needed to be, basically in the section next door was a stand, and I said, is it okay if I hang my plant on that? And they said, yeah, sure, because my main plant's over here, that's fine, so yours isn't gonna, you know, yeah, that'll be fine. So anyway, I hung it up to be judged, and it promptly didn't get judged, because the stand it was hanging on, not where it was actually hanging, but the stand it was hanging on was in the wrong section. So nobody pointed that out to me. Anyway, and the other fastuosa that was there actually got the first in that section, and I still think to myself, mine was the better plant. It just happened to be hanging on something that wasn't quite in the right place. I'll concentrate next time. But it's coming on, you know, it's doing nicely. It's got a plantlet that it's grown out of the side. So effectively, like in Cattleya terms, it's now got 2 leads, so the potential of even more spikes down the line. Bloom's regular, that one. Yeah. Out of my Orangus, that's the regular one. The others aren't so good. This one I don't think is going to make it. This is this Critata, I think it's called. Yeah, Critata. The whole plant died, and it was just at the point a new little plant that was growing from the base, and I thought, well, it might be saved. But as such, that is now seedling size. It's years off of blooming, and I love the blooms on this one. So this one's back on the list to try and find a better version, because I'm not a patient person, and that's just so weak, you know, given that the main plant died. I'm not even sure it will make it. It's a shame. It was a good plant. It just died. No apparent reason. They do that sometimes. I think they do it just to annoy you. Anyway, today all I've got left to water are the holy clay pots. We filmed those literally not that many days ago, so there's nothing to film in that section. They need some food today, so I've got my food out ready to dose up some water. And you might wonder why I'm watering some bottles. Well, in this place, the room temperature is not room temperature that I would like. It's cool. Obviously it gets down to about 12 degrees overnight. I'm not watering Vandas with a water temperature of 12 degrees. That is far too much of a chill for them. So what I do is I fill some bottles up with some hot water and just leave them in the bucket for a while, and it just takes the chill off the water, just raises the temperature a bit. And that's clean water in there at the moment. That needs some food because the Vandas have, well, because I was lazy yesterday because I had so much to do, they should have had some feed in that water and didn't get it. So they've effectively been flushed 3 times now. They haven't had any food at all for 3 waterings. So we'll get some food in there as well, ready for those. Quite a few less to water this time. That's getting rid of those 3 Vandas has halved the amount of time it takes me to water the Vandas now. The big one that I got rid of had to go in the bucket in 2 halves. It had to lean over one way to get half the roots in, left to soak, and then turned over the other side to get the rest of the roots soaked. So that plant just was a nuisance, you know, in its size and the space it took up in here, plus even its watering was not as easy as the other Vandas. So that one's gone now, so that's a workload reduced dramatically. Anyway, if I do come across anything else, I'll film it. Otherwise, I'll leave this one at that. Yeah, you're still not open, are you? Come on! All I can say is that the fact that it hasn't opened, the buds are still swelling, and the longer that happens, the larger the blooms are going to be, because I literally don't have a clue what this is going to look like. It's an total unknown. But it's going to be pink. I would suggest pink or purplish pink or something like that. Maybe it'll have some bright coloured markings in the centre, which you can never see on the buds, obviously, until they open. But they're swelling nicely. There's no sign of them actually opening yet, but... and I don't know how long they'll be yet. I mean, they could swell up for another week or 2 before they open. We'll have to wait and see. But if I don't find anything else to film... Oh, an update on the resting dendrobiums. We did a bud hunt on those not that long ago, so I'm not going to film them again, probably until the end of January. But then we'll go back over them and do them again and see how much change, you know, how much progress we've actually got on buds forming, or lack of buds forming in some cases, but I'm doing the best I can with them. I can't do any better. So they either bloom this time or they don't, and if they don't, in my mind they probably never will, because I've done the best rest I can do this time. So we'll see how those develop, but we are thin on the ground this time of year. Not in the number of blooms. I'm happy, you know. I mean, I've got Ansepsis out. I've got 3 in bloom here. I've got a Twinkle about to come. There's a Vanda still out. My Runcus Stylus is still out. I've got several Latorias out in bloom. Sorry, I'm moving the camera a bit quick. I've got a Nobly out in bloom. My Epidendrum radicans type thing is opening up nicely with plenty more spikes to go. I got a Solemnia out. My tiny twinkle's still in bloom. This single bud on that Phalaenopsis type, I'm not sure it's going to open much more than that. It's not exactly a spectacle, is it? The other Phalaenopsis type Dendrobium is not far off opening now. I've got those lovely little splash of red over there. I have things in bloom. Even this is first time bloomer. So there's stuff around, but the rate of change is really slow this time of year. You know, the amount of new things that are going to open is thin on the ground. And it's all waiting for that magic trigger. And the magic trigger, quite honestly, is when we get back to 11 hours. And the rate of day length change is increasing slowly but surely now. You know, by the end of this month, we'll have a noticeable increase in day length. By the end of February, we get close to that magic 11 hours, and that's when everything starts kicking off. It's their comfort zone. Most of these are tropical orchids where the day length just stays between 11 and 13 hours. It doesn't change. And once it gets back to that 11 hours, things start really moving. You know, that really is a trigger for a lot of things to push out new growths and whatever. So I'm looking forward to that point, end of February. You know, it's middle of January now. It's not a huge amount of time to wait, but wait we have to do in the UK. That's what we have to put up with. So yeah, I don't think I'll find anything else, so I'll cut this one off and see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.